David, it's so nice to meet you.
And you.
I wanted to talk to you about your great new soul album, which I've had the pleasure of listening to. Where did the inspiration for this album come from? Is this your life? Is this all about you?
It's, well, you know, a lot of the lyrics are written by my wife, Polly. And she used to try to really channel me, you know, to understand what was going on in my mind. I think she's now liberated herself from the compulsion to do that, or to feel that's an absolute necessity. So she feels more free to write, and I guess she just thinks that if she means what she says, then I will give it my best shot to mean what she says too, as if it were me.
Do you prefer doing a solo album over working with a band?
What band?
There's a band called Pink Floyd. You might.
There was a band called Pink Floyd. Yes, it's you know, it's not exactly news that I don't really feel like doing that anymore. But
right, but is it a solo?
I'm going to sneeze now, I think. Hang on, I'll try not to.
Blow my ears out.
But doing a solo, the difference between recording a solo album and recording with other input. Do you prefer just having your own, doing your own thing?
No, I don't think I do. I think I enjoy it whatever way it comes. I mean, I think I would have spent a lot of my... I like being part of a unit. And I feel that my unit now is more me and Polly.
Right.
And to a certain extent, Phil Manzanera and other people too. But, you know, we are a sort of partnership, a unit, and I feel better as part of something rather than being, you know, the complete solo artist all on my own.
And how does it work? Do you record the music? You present all the songs to Polly, or are there certain songs that you want her to write lyrics for specifically?
Well, you know, as we live together and see each other all the time, she hears what I'm working on. So if I've got a newish thing that I'm working on, or something that I've developed to a certain point, I'll play it to her. And if she expresses an interest in it and likes it, then I'll pop it onto some listening device for her. And when she goes for walks, she will try and listen and work out what it should be about. So the music does, so far, comes first. I don't want to declare a rule book,
because that could change.
It could change any time, you know. I mean, if Polly came to me with something that she felt was a lyric, I would either try to write a piece of music for it, or find something that I've got that would be adjustable, the words and the music towards each other.
Is there ever a time that you say, I don't like the way that works?
It's with the song "The Girl in the Yellow Dress," which I had written that music and had recorded a basic track with a jazz trio for "The Girl in the Yellow Dress" in 2004. So I've had it for a while, but it never quite, either musically or lyrically, presented itself to me 100% back then. And Polly did write some words for it back then, but for one reason or another, I can't really remember the words or what my frame of mind was at the time, but I also felt that the track hadn't sort of, I find it hard to describe exactly what I mean, but there's that final 10% of something where you think, well, that's got potential, but until you find that last bit of its potential, it's not quite there, it's not quite ready. So we forgot about whatever it was that she had written, the words for it back then.
It turned out beautiful.
Great, yes, it's fantastic.
Jazzy, bluesy kind of song.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about some of the songs on the album. I'm actually going to play you something. This is... That is the door chime on the Toronto subway system when the doors are about to close.
Yeah.
And the reason I played it for you is because there's an interesting story about Rattle That Lock.
Yeah.
Could that inspire a song?
I don't think so.
No. But Rattle That Lock.
That's three notes.
Yeah.
It's in sort of fairly equal descending intervals. There's no syncopation. There's not really a melody. it's not going to make you get up and dance, is it?
No.
And the one for Rattle That Lock is the one on the French railway stations. I travel by train most of the time when I'm traveling in Europe. I'm not over keen, Polly's particularly not over keen on flight.
Flying.
And we find that we mostly get to places pretty nearly as quick, in much more genteel comfort by the train. And when you're in France, that's the SNCF jingle of is, you know, it's catchy.
It's got a groove to it.
Yeah, it's got a groove to it. It's catchy. I recorded it with my iPhone, brought it back here, made up a tune, recorded it, played it to Polly, and there you are. There you have it. She loved it.
Does that happen a lot? That sounds or things you see make you think, I can write a song?
I do record sounds. I've got one or two other bits of sounds that I have recorded of noise. I've got one that I have yet to use. I haven't written a song with it yet. That is the noise a particular car makes when its door is open to warn you that the door is open. It's kind of it's just one noise and it's insistent, but maybe one day, I don't know. Anyway, you know, music just presents itself to me any way it can. And now with having carrying, I mean, we all carry around a recording studio, a film studio, an address book, even a phone.
It's all here.
It's all there in your pocket all the time. Yeah. So when little moments present themselves to you and you're open to it, you can make a little quick note and then put it back in your pocket and forget it and come back to it. Also
on Rattle That Lock, you use a prison choir. And I was, how did that even...
It's not a prison choir. There's a charity that does singing inside prisons, and there's a choir outside prisons, and the choir outside of the prisons in South London is open and available, so that when these prisoners, and the ones that can do this choir are the ones towards the end of their sentences, and it's one way that two people, this lovely woman, MJ Paranzino, and Ginny Dougherty, have put together to help to welcome people back into what we call the real world. So the choir that I used on Rattle That Lock, did have some ex-prisoners in it, and a bunch of people who just joined the choir.
And you had heard them, or is this they were recommended to you?
It's a charity that I have a sort of stake in, that I support.
Tell me about A Boat Lies Waiting.
Yeah.
Graham Nash.
Graham Nash and David Crosby are singing on it. They're old friends. They sang on an Island album as well, and they were here doing some shows, and I said, come, I've got a tune I want you to sing. And Polly had just written the words, in fact, at that point. And the words are about Rick Wright. It's the rolling motion of the piano playing in that tune, I think, inspired Polly to think about the ocean, and thinking about the ocean inspired her to think about Rick, whose big passion was sailing, and he sailed all over the world. Constantly, so that became about him.
And does Gabriel...
And the piano on that one. No, Gabriel, my son, plays on another track.
Oh, okay.
But, the piano on that one, there's the piano on the introduction is Brian Eno's brother, Roger Eno, great, lovely guy. But then the piano afterwards actually is back to my original demo, which I recorded with a little cheap mini disc player years ago. In fact, I recorded that 18 years ago, because it's got my son, who's now 18, Gabriel, squawking on it. That little squawking noise is him. He plays piano on another track, In Any Tongue.
Oh, okay. And I think that's going to be the next single that's released in Canada, In Any Tongue.
In Any Tongue, is it? I didn't know that.
So, can you tell me about the inspiration for that one?
In Any Tongue? Polly would be better at talking about the lyrics. She wrote the lyrics to that one, but it's, I guess you could say it's about the consciences and regrets of people who are affected by war, either on the receiving end or on the delivering end, of these who often don't know the mysterious reasons why they are on the receiving end or on the giving end. I mean, and you know, a lot of young soldiers who come back after war zone activity, combat activity, have consciences where they stop really understanding quite why they were there, or they start questioning the reasons that they were there in the first place, and finding that the answers they're given aren't satisfactory. All the people, as I say, who are on the receiving end of it, whose children and whose selves are being killed by people who are controlling weapons on the other side of the planet.
The album is very different than what I've heard from you before, but there are some other tracks on the album that are very reminiscent of Pink Floyd. The beginning of 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you hear that first guitar note, it's very distinctive David Gilmour guitar. But there is, would you not agree, a Pink Floyd fan will love this album?
Well, I hope.
Not just because they love you, but because it, and also
There's no fundamental difference between what I love and about what I do, and the me that is also a part of Pink Floyd. You know, the music that we made as Pink Floyd is what I love doing. It is absolutely pretty much perfectly to my taste. And this that I am doing now also is pretty much perfectly to my taste. And it's just different moment, different tunes, different lyrics.
Do you have favorites?
Hundreds of favorites.
So not one or two that you can just look
I
back
can't
and go,
pinpoint one or two moments from a lifetime of
but
creating
maybe
music.
from this album in particular.
Again, I think it's for me. I think it's you know, without false modesty, I think it's a very, very good album. I think you know, I think I'm hitting some sort of a peak here.
It's all right to feel that way. Proud of it. You're in rehearsals right now for the upcoming tour.
Yeah.
Playing 2 Toronto shows, which we're very happy about. But I had to laugh when I read one of your quotes about talking about the upcoming tour, saying that you weren't going to be playing a lot of venues because this was an old man's tour. So
all sorts of things you say come back to bite you.
sorry. But
Have to live with it.
Is there physical preparation that has to go into this? I know you've got your Fitbit on and you're doing your 10,000 steps a day.
Oh shit! I should have taken it off.
But
Product placement. Fuck.
yeah, we'll edit that out. But is there? Are you doing?
What, my Fitbit?
No.
Just paint. Take it into CGI.
Is there physical? Do you have to get into shape? You know, I do a Mick Jagger. I think of Mick Jagger.
Do I
yoga.
need to get into shape? Come on. No, I'm just rehearsing. I'm constantly trying to get into shape, one way or another.
Right.
But you know,
because it can be so.
I don't
taxing.
want to be, you know, I'm not in my 20s. I don't want to be schlepping all over the planet, playing every city. I just don't want to do that. I don't feel like doing that. And I'm going to be forcing people to come to me a bit more on this one. I'm sorry about that, but you know.
Have you thought about a set list?
I'm thinking about the set list right now. I sat up with Polly last night and we wrote out the first set list.
So she has input on that as well?
Yeah, she has input on pretty much everything in my life.
That's nice. But without giving too
And
much.
vice versa.
Yeah, without giving too much away, can you give us a hint? Is it going to be mostly from this album? Is it some other solo albums? Throw Floyd song in there?
There'll be Pink Floyd songs. There'll be David Gilmour solo songs. I won't be doing anything by Leonard Cohen or Bob Dylan.
The last track on the album.
Yeah.
And then.
Yeah. ...
Is it to be continued?
life is to be continued, music is to be continued. I have every intention of making another album, and my intention is for it not to take 9 years this time, but there's no promises.
And is there ever any pressure that you put on yourself? I have to finish this.
There is eventually a pressure to finish something, because at some point you have to commit to doing dates, and halls, rooms, theatres have to be booked, musicians have to be booked, and there comes the moment of truth where they say, well, now you are doing this, this is booked, so the album has got to be finished by that date. So then, but there's nothing wrong with a bit of pressure.
What would you be doing if you weren't in the studio or on tour?
Gosh, I can't remember.
Walking?
It's been so long. Walking, talking, you know, helping to guide my children into adulthood a little bit. All the things that people do.
Do you have a favorite guitar player?
I have lots of favourite guitar players.
So many people will say David Gilmour is the best. He plays with emotion. I've talked to so many of your fans. So if you had to pick out one that stands out right now.
I probably the person who I have admired the longest and the most consistently is Jeff Beck in the guitar playing stakes. And a lovely guy.
I've got some questions from listeners who sent them in. I would like to know what he enjoys listening to. So what music are you listening to?
I've just been so busy for so long now that I can't remember what I was last listening to. The last album that I listened to the whole album and got a bit obsessed by and really enjoyed putting on and listening to the whole thing all the way through was Nick Cave's last album called Push the Sky Away, which is brilliant. He lives here in Brighton.
We were chatting about him actually earlier. Who are the musicians who influenced you then and now?
You know, it's so hard. You know, I'm doing people an injustice if I try to pin down people,
others,
because I have got, my musical taste is so broad and encompasses so many people from, you know, the folk music world, you know, your Pete Seeger, Woody Guthrie, Bob Dylan, Joni Mitchell, Hank Marvin, Eddie Cochran, you know, thousands. There's just thousands, and all of those people's music has entered my subconscious and created a sort of mishmash that has become what is, I suppose, my style. And I can't pin it down tighter than that. I'm sorry, it's a little broad, but I'm very happy that it is broad.
Where is your favorite place to visit in the world?
My favorite place to Britain to visit. Well, my country of birth, this one, is my favourite place to be. I love to take holidays, you know, as everyone does. The Mediterranean suits me, you know. I love nice. Turkey.
I love this question. What musician have you paid to see in concert?
Let me think. I have paid to see thousands of musicians.
You don't get comps? David Gilmour doesn't get comps?
Well, if I want to go and see someone, I have a manager and an agent, and I can say to them, I mean, I would usually see if I can buy tickets first, but often I don't have my finger on the pulse so much, so I often don't realise they're on until it's next week.